Okay, I'll get the agenda out. This time I'll call the meeting to order for the Dixon County Commission. It is April 15th, 2021. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, on today's agenda, we do not have any additions. So I would move that we approve the agenda as printed. We have the motion and the second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of our April 8th meeting. It also includes payroll of $425,357.82, pen checks of $100, abatements of $50,474.38. It also includes a wire payment for credit cards, and that was $30,957.46.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll go ahead and go to commission comments. Ron?
I'll be spending some time next week at the Juvenile Detention Center in Junction City, going over their reports and their operations. So that's what will be going on.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, as we talked in the work session, Lynn and I attended the Hitching Post to Kansas, Nebraska Heritage area. Like we spoke before, I don't think we'll take action on it. I wouldn't want to take action on it until we get more information, but we'll be taking action on it in the future. That's all I have, Lynn.
Okay. As Craig said, I did also attend the meeting, and typically on something like that where it could be that more than one commissioner would show up at a meeting, even though we weren't there to discuss county business. We were there just to hear. It was posted on our website, and there were, I would estimate, somewhere around 175. It almost maybe seemed larger than that. I had someone tell me they counted, but the meeting was packed. It was at the Hitching Post. One thing that's kind of unfortunate is that it's hard to tell what kind of crowd is going to be there and how many. And so they had a speaker system, but it really didn't project both directions. And it was kind of an elongated area of the building. So every once in a while I'd have people, say I can't hear, or, get the microphone up closer. And so I think those that were sitting more in the immediate area had a little bit of an easier time. And there's a few people like myself that maybe the hearing isn't what it was 20 years ago. So I had to try to concentrate and listen a little closer. Saw a few people with their hands cupped up to their ears listening. And but it was an important meeting because I had several people mention, and that's kind of the theme of the meeting, is the issue is this a challenge of personal property rights? And most of the crowd or group that was there are people that are property owners, but also they're in the rural area. So their farming operation is their livelihood, and they have a great stake in that. And we are a rural county, and obviously everyone is dependent upon food supply, and so I think that was one of the issues also was, how will land be managed and on a heritage area. And when you consider the facts, as Craig mentioned earlier, much of the farmland is already CRP. Those individuals that own the land take care of the land. They're preservationists and conservationists already to a certain degree because, they're stewards of the land. And so anyway, that is something that we probably will have some consideration in the future as we gather more information on that, and probably will continue to hear from some people. And we really aren't to the part of notices and communications, but I will mention at this time, we did receive a copy of a resolution that was given that people want us to consider, and there were 39 signatures. And while there were quite a few more people at the meeting, they really didn't have a way to facilitate handing out petitions for signatures. I don't think they planned on that. So it very well would be that there would have been more signatures if they had been able to do that. But having said that too, I'd kind of like to hear from some of the people that were at the meetings. And either the one here or the one in Clay County or elsewhere. We have a Central Kansas Mental Health Board meeting coming up on Monday, and that's all I have. We did not have any petitions or proclamations, so we are at the point of public comment. So if there's anyone that has joined us online, this would be your opportunity to speak and address the commission. We put a limit of 5 minutes on that and ask you to give us your name and address. And there are some people that would like to speak. It seems okay. Troy?
Yes.
You address us at this time.
Okay. My name's Troy Leaf. My address is 710 2500 Avenue in Abilene. And I'd just like to go back to the National Heritage Area meeting the other night. I was there, and the impression I got from it is I think the fear from the local landowners is there hidden agenda items in here and the possibility of just some federal government overreach into controlling their property. And there is a lot of those areas out there. There's proof of some overreach attempts from some of them. But to simplify this, what I think I gathered from the crowd and the few that I talked to as far as action items that maybe we would be asking from you guys as a county commission would be two things jumped out at me. You could write a proclamation to opt Dickinson County out of it preemptively. But the other thing that I think you really could do, and what I would like to see is figure out who to write to, because they mentioned one of the moves to do is to have our county attorney draft a letter requesting transparency of what's in the act and what's in their intent and who their investors are. Because the other thing I gathered right now is it's a movement from people trying to petition the national parks to make this a heritage area. So until they get that done, the federal government really maybe isn't doing anything. So right now we're dealing with the people that want to create it. So again, I think the way I would simplify it, and what I'm trying to do from my perspective, is just kind of gather what the crowd there seemed to be wanting. And one would be if you felt comfortable enough to send that proclamation to opt out. But the other one certainly would be a great information gathering tool. And that would be to figure out how to form a letter from our attorney saying we request a transparency on what's going on here. That's kind of my whole outline.
Okay, thank you, Troy.
Yes. The other thing I might add is through the Leadership Dickinson County organization, if you guys decided to do this and get some transparency and some information, I would be glad to help facilitate a local town hall type meeting to maybe lay that out and discuss it further if we wanted to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I know Troy has kind of helped with what the Leadership Dickinson County and been involved with that in the past, and Was that, as he said at the meeting? Okay, are there any others that have indicated on the screen that they would like to speak? I don't believe we have anyone else. And so I appreciate those that have listened in, and we're going to go ahead and go to the next part of our meeting. And that is our report of county officers. It's our county administrator, Brad Holman. If you'd go ahead, please.
Okay, the good news, Fair Road Bridge is progressing. They did get the north approach poured last week as planned. Weather's been good so far. I don't know what it'll do starting this afternoon, but with any luck, the dirt contractor can get in the first of next week, as well as the guardrail people, and get those projects done. And hopefully we're within a week or two of getting that back open again. So it looks good, and we'll be happy to get that segment of road open. So the roof contractor for the jail project, I've got a meeting scheduled for next week for them to come in and look at the west portion of the courthouse project, and a roof that has become a project, to see what kind of a proposal we can get for them to go in and remove that and repair that appropriately. And I did hear back from the material supplier that they will provide that material under warranty at no cost. We just need to get those two hooked up and make sure whatever the cost is going to be is appropriate for the labor on that. So new building at the county yard has been, the floor's been poured, and they were finishing that off yesterday afternoon late. So once that's cured, they'll be able to start putting up the structure, and it's looking very well. Things are going good there. Excuse me. Yesterday, the health department spent the day vaccinating high school students in 4 of our 5 school districts. And I'm pleased to say that we had about 64 kids that got their vaccines, age 16 to 18, that they and their parents chose that they would get those. So our staff went out, and with the help of the school, getting those waivers signed, we're able to get those kids vaccinated. So again, that's a milestone towards getting the people in our county taken care of. And the numbers for requests and making the reservations for the vaccine has subsided tremendously, which I guess is a good thing. We've hopefully provided to the people that really want them, the vaccines. So if there's anybody else that needs that, I would encourage them to register. You don't have to be a resident of this county to have us give you the vaccine. You can be from anywhere. We'd be more than glad to help you out. So if you have employees that live outside the county, or yourself or family members, I would encourage everybody to get that done. So, and the last thing, we had our weekly school meeting yesterday. We had it with the school nurses in all 5 districts. And the report that we got was very enlightening, that the COVID issue remains very, I would use the word insignificant in the school districts. I think a lot of that is due to the fact they're continuing to require masks to be worn. We're hearing from everywhere else around us that, and when I say around us, other states, that the numbers are spiking, and we're not seeing that. And hopefully we remain in that situation. But things look good in school districts. And I know many of them are planning proms and field trips and trying to get the kids out and start to get back to normal towards the end of the school year, and planning graduation. So we're glad to see that. That's all I've got. Doug did say that he had court out at Stir Hall, and he would be here if he could. He didn't know that he would be here at the time, so.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to notices and communications. I mentioned earlier that we did have a copy of the resolution that was sent to us, Rhonda Beaupre, and she had sent that, and also she had been at that meeting, and there were some 39 signatures that were collected. Along with that, I did have several people come up and verbalize and say they had a high level of concern about it, and thought the county should opt out. Was really pretty much all I heard. I didn't hear any speak from the other side in particular. We do have a notice from the Kansas Historical Society, And this is a letter and a copy of the letter that was sent to Daniel and Christina McDonald at 519 North D Street in Harrington, Kansas. And I hope I pronounce it correctly, but the Liggett House or Liggett House, Liggett, is a house that they own, and it is the nomination for that house to the Kansas Historic Site Board has been received, and there will be a review on that. And that review will take place at the May 8th, 2021 meeting. It says you're invited, but not required to attend the meeting. So there also is a list of a few other houses that are going to be considered at that time that happen to be from some other places throughout the state of Kansas. So anyway, that's something I'm sure they've worked very hard on, and best wishes to them on that hearing. We also have a trade show that we're invited to at Hope, Kansas, in Abilene, Kansas. It's a CEO trade show, and they're going to showcase our students who have businesses and products.
Can I see that, Lynn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and that is on April 26th at Hope and May 3rd here in Abilene. And I'm sure we'll receive some more information on it. I think that's preliminary, just to make sure we get it on the calendar and others are aware of it. We also have our county news, and we received a Kansas City Business Magazine, and it has some information here about some of the leaders in Kansas that are under 40. And while this is a Kansas City magazine, last month when we received one, I took it home and kind of glanced through it, and they actually were highlighting people across the state that had some successful business ventures and so on. And there were some that were in central Kansas. So it isn't just exclusive for Kansas City, and it's a well-known, long-standing magazine in Kansas City. That's all I have. Were there any other notices and communications that any of you had?
We did get one email on the Nebraska Land Trust.
Yes, there was from the Howie family, and they were wanting the county to adopt a resolution on it, and they did send an email to the county that all of us received a copy of. There are no resolutions or unfinished business to consider, so we're going to move on to other business. The one item we have on the agenda is to consider the bid for the purchase of bridge materials. And this is the 875 2600 Avenue Bridge replacement. So Brad, would you go ahead and highlight that report?
Yes, we have two bridge replacements to purchase materials for. The first one is 875 2600 Avenue. We've obtained bids from the vendors on decking and sheeting material for that. The first for the I-beams and angle iron material, we obtained 3 bids on that one. With low bid being Wellborn Sales out of Salina, 21,976. And then for the push sheeting and decking material on that project, we only obtained 1 bid, and that was from Wellborn Sales also, for a total of 18,260. The other project is at 1340 3400 Avenue, also a bridge replacement. And we obtained bids for those materials as well. The I-beams and angle iron, flat iron material, we got 3 bids in from Wellborn, Husker, and Odin Enterprises. Odin Enterprises of Wahoo, Nebraska was the low bid on that one, 14,901, with the high bid on that one being Husker Steel, Lincoln, Nebraska, 16,750. And then Wellborn was at 16,045. So they varied across the board. On that project, the push sheeting, again, Wellborn Sales was the only vendor that bid that one. And their bid was 15,077. So the staff recommendation is to accept the low bid for both types of materials. for Wellborn Sales, the low bid on both projects for the both sets of materials totals 55,314.50. And then the other one is from Odin Enterprises for a total of 14,901.45.
Okay, I moved to accept the bid from Wellborn and Odin, the low bids.
Second it.
Okay, we have the motion and the second to accept the bid from Wellborn Sales. And that was the totals that they had for both of those bridge replacements, materials of $55,314.50. Also the motion included for Odin Enterprises, and that portion of the material is $14,901.45. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We do not have any other business for the commission.
I would like to just stop in this. We haven't taken a road trip for a while. I know Brad's pretty busy, but the Fair Road Bridge and then out the environmental services, when that gets full, it's just down the road, maybe 6-8 weeks away, but we've always done it in the past.
Yeah.
So you might see what you guys might want to do. We don't have, maybe 2-3 hours after the meeting if we can, or I think you got to look at it in person.
Sure.
Okay. And we've done that in the past, kind of on an annual basis, and obviously only can see certain
Yeah, can't make the whole county.
bridges, but we've taken a look at progress and sometimes got underneath the bridges and taken a look up or seen a project being worked on. And
Only if you pose for a picture, Greg.
Okay, I'll be.
I had to chase him around this morning to get a picture.
I'll move we adjourn now.
And I'll second that.
okay, we have the motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.